In this video, we will discuss adding a surface between objects, the rule surf and tab surf commands. If you'd like to follow along with this video, please open the file, add a surface between objects, the rule surf and tab surf command.dwg located in the working files folder as discussed in the working with this dataset video. The rule surf and tab surf commands create a mesh from a line or curve that is swept along a straight path. Now, before we discuss these two commands that create surfaces between objects, we need to talk about two variables that are used to create the actual surface. The two variables are the surf tab 1 and surf tab 2 variables. These two variables represent the number of mesh faces in the M and N directions, respectively. Now, the letters M and N are kind of used to reduce the confusion with the standard X and Y axes. However, it's generally considered to coincide with those axes. So in other words, the X-axis direction is where you control the surf tab 1 variable, and the Y-axis direction is where you control the surf tab 2 variable, and the meshes that will get generated. So let's look at what the surf tab 1 variable is set to. It's set to 6. Respectively, surf tab 2 is also set to 6. Now let's look at these commands with this variable set to 6. First, let's set our current layer to m-cab, and these commands are located in the Mesh tab Primitives panel. The first command we'll look at is the tab surf command. So let's go ahead and select it. As I always say, when you don't know what to do, look to the command line window. It says select the object for path curve. This is the object that you want to follow the path with. So in this case, we want this circle to follow this path to generate our cab for us. Go ahead and select the circle. It now says select object for direction vector. It does matter which location you select when you pick the actual object. If you pick here, the direction will go the opposite way. If you pick here, it'll start from that way. It's basically past the midpoint of the object you're selecting. Let's go ahead and select this object, and notice how the cab gets created with a 6-sided mesh. This, of course, is not what we want to happen. We want to densify the meshing that gets generated. So let's go ahead and remove this object by selecting it and deleting it. And now let's set our surf tab variables to a value of, let's say, 40. Of course, the higher the value that you set here, it may increase the drawing size. Now let's go ahead and run the command again. We'll pick our circle, select the line, and that looks much better. While we're still on the tab surf functionality, let's go ahead and change our layer to m-stack. And now let's go ahead and choose the tab surf command again. Now what we want to do is we want to make the stack here. So notice how we have these pre-drawn standard AutoCAD objects. These are pretty simple to create. You simply just draw them on a specific plane, and then I just copied this along here, drew a line at a specific angle, and then copied it up again. So we'll go ahead and select our circle, and then go ahead and select our line. And it's that simple. Press Enter to repeat the command. Pick the circle, pick the line, press Enter, pick the circle, pick the line, and look how simple it is. Very nicely, we now have our stack. Again, if you don't need to make 3D solids and these types of objects will get your design intent across, then all you need to do is create these simple objects. Let's look at the rule surf command located in the primitives panel. First, change your layer to m-catcher, and let's go ahead and run the rule surf command. This command too uses the surf tab 1 and surf tab 2 variables to define the amount of meshing that gets created. Now, it does actually matter the order in which you select the objects. So let's go ahead and select this line here first, which is simply a line with a thickness, and then we'll select this line next, and notice how it generates a surface between two entities. That's pretty powerful. Really simple and easy way to do so. Now let's go ahead and press Enter to repeat the command, and let's select it in the reverse direction and see what happens. We'll pick there, and as you can see, it crisscrosses the object. So make sure you pick them in the correct order. I'll go ahead and undo that. We'll rerun the rule surf command, and just make sure you pick the exact location of where you want the object to be generated, and it's that simple.